Welcome. I'm your host, Dustin.
I'm your co-host Aaron.
Today, we are reviewing a movie that we should have done a long time ago. I actually switched out a movie for us to do this movie, and we're doing The Stylist, finally. I know we just did the Jill Gevargizian interview 3 weeks ago, I think is when it was. Aaron, I know you weren't there for that one because of work and whatnot. But yeah, this is a movie that I feel like we should have reviewed around the time that we did that interview. But I don't remember what the hell we had going on.
That was like the busy week.
I think so. I think it's when I like overbooked us like hardcore. And I think we had like 6 people coming on or some shit like that. But we're finally doing it. We are reviewing The Stylist. It is a great fucking movie. Aaron, your first time viewing it. Technically mine too, but I saw this way before you did. But just coming off of the fresh watch, what do you think?
Well, there was a few scenes I mentioned to you earlier that are kind of hard to watch, but they were cool. It's very emotional. You feel
Just talking to it because you keep cutting out.
My bad. But yeah, you kind of feel for the Claire, throughout the movie, but
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It's and also this movie kind of like throws you into it right away.
Yeah.
You don't really have any kind of breathing room for this film, and it's meant that way. Especially after talking to Jill about how this movie was, and that she's a hairstylist herself, and she kind of did this because no one has really made a killer hairstylist before. I mean, this movie has a lot of influences in it, of course. It's got some Maniac in it. It's got like Texas Chainsaw. It's got a lot of things. Logan, I asked you to not do that, please. And yeah, it's just an overall really, really good film. Shh! I need you to stop, please. Now I gotta edit a bunch of this out. Okay, 1, 2, 3. It's got Maniac influences in it. It's got Texas Chainsaw in it. It has a lot of really weird like 70s 80s movies mixed in with the feeling of this, even though it's a very modern film. Like we just interviewed with Adam Stovall, the director and writer of A Ghost Waits, and this is what we're saying, how he doesn't even know really when his movie was technically officially released. This is one of those films that a lot of people say, oh, it's like 2020, oh, it's 2021. Some people saying 2022 because it came out on Shudder 2022. But I'm pretty sure Jill, when I was talking to her, I think he confirmed it was a 2021 release. I could be completely wrong on that. But anyway, that's just a little bit of background on this film before we really start jumping into it. Aaron, if you want to pull up IMDb and do the usual.
Stylist, according to IMDb,
it does say 2020.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure she said 2021, but hey, I'm probably fucking wrong.
The movie runs for an hour and 45 minutes. That's a ride all the way through.
Yeah.
So we'll go through the cast, and we have Yara Townsend, who plays Claire, who's our main character.
Yep, I know her from Contracted. Very, very good zombie movie. There was also a second one. I think she's in that one as well. I think. But yeah, great performance. That was a movie I saw like around like, when did the movie come out? Contracted.
2013.
2013. I think I saw it in like 2015, 16, right around there. I think it was on Netflix for a long time. Very, very good movie and really, really good performance, and she definitely carries that same energy into this film.
It's a pretty small cast too.
Yep.
But then we also have Bria Grant, who plays Olivia, who's friend.
Yep, and she's in a movie that's also on Shudder called Lucky. She wrote it.
She was also in Halloween 2.
Yeah, Lucky is a really, really good kind of almost time loop movie. It's good. It's on Shudder. I saw it once and I meant to go rewatch it again because there was a couple spots in it that I was a little confused about. Because the movie is a bit confusing, but it's a good watch for sure.
We have Jennifer Seward who plays Sarah. Sarah McGuire plays Dawn.
Yeah, I think those ones are. I don't know if they're technically unknown, but the two bigger ones that we just talked about.
Yeah.
So all these ones are kind of just like
side character.
Yeah, side character.
Davis DeRock who plays Lee. Millie Milan who plays. Again, the rest are like
bunch of other
characters.
things.
Yeah. But like the main cast is kept pretty.
Yep, and this was directed and written by Jill Gargazian. With some partners. I forget what she said the budget was for this, but maybe IMDb likes us today and wants to give us the budget for this, if it's accurate. Because sometimes it's not. It does not look like it wants to give us a budget, but you guys can go listen to our interview with Jill, and you can find out a lot more behind the scenes for this film and other things that she's done. Because this is also a movie under her production company, Six Tape Productions, that she created, and Najara is actually listed on it too. She is also a producer in that company, so it's kind of cool that she's acquiring more people for her company to make more movies. And I want to see what else is next, and I can tell you what's next is a movie called Black Mold that I'm pretty sure she's a head producer on it. That's coming out, and for those of you who have seen Revealer or listened to our interview or our review on it, Jill was also a producer in that. Very, very like lower end producer. But the really cool thing is that Kato AC is also one of the main actors in Black Mold. So it's a very tight family between the Stylist and Revealer. And now they're kind of, keeping in a company to do more films. I'm all for it. I'm all for it, man.
Next, we have Rotten Tomatoes.
All right. I did see these, but it's been a long time since I saw it. I'm pretty sure it is certified fresh, correct?
Yep.
I think it's in the 80s. I'm going to go 87. 90? Okay.
And then the audience score is fewer than 50 ratings.
Fewer than 50?
Yeah.
Really? Well, usually when it's a lower number like that, it's going to be high regardless. So I'm going to keep it in the 80s. I'm like 80. 40? Fuck you. Really? I was thinking because it was like lower on the spectrum for the amount of views, that would have been high. But really, people don't like film. Well, I guess they don't not like it. They just don't think it's average.
Yeah. Sadly, nowadays there's no video for this to go straight to. Maybe someone should reopen a branch of Blockbuster so a VHS copy can be ceremoniously placed in a bargain bin by the exit.
But that's a negative review. They're saying this can't go on a streaming service, but it's on Arrow streaming service and it's on Shudder, and you can buy physical.
Right?
Are people dumb?
Here's a positive one. With loads of swooning style, Gavarskian guides this gruesome story of self-discovery gone awry into an absolutely bonkers climax that'll leave audiences dropped jawed.
Yeah, I agree on that.
This is a movie that suggests finding a new friend as an adult can be as difficult and emotionally wrenching as escaping a serial killer.
Okay. Yeah. That negative one, that just really boggles my mind.
But the rest of them were positive.
But why would opening up a Blockbuster to get this to be viewed? That's just fucking insane. I wonder if Jill's read that one, because that one's like, what? You're clearly on a different fucking planet.
Right.
But I think that's all we have on the background before we jump into this crazy movie, right? All right, so let's start. The Stylist. Aaron, do you want to open or do you want me to open?
I want you to.
Okay, because I think you opened the last two, so yes, I'll do it. Yeah, this movie really does start off right to bat, but the first like whole scene, it's so beautifully lit, and the colors are. This is a very colorful film. Even with the drawing that someone actually made for the cover, like this highlights the color palette in this film, and it's also on our screen. It's really, really good. But yeah, it's we meet this character Claire, who is a hairstylist. She's working very late, drinking a coffee. She looks a little. Right off the bat, you can kind of tell there might be something a little off about her, or you just might think maybe she's just tired as fuck. It's
Overworked.
night, anxious. It looks like she's looking at all the people who are still in the salon, which is not many. They're all about to leave and finish with their clients. So her client walks in and they sit down and they kind of start talking a little bit, and Claire's asking her, oh, so where are you from? And she's like, oh, is it that obvious? Like I'm not from around here, and whatnot. So they start talking a little bit. Then she asks if she wants like a glass of wine or water, and she says, yeah, I'll take some wine. So she goes, and we just see the back shot of Claire with a bunch of glasses. We don't know what she's doing at this point. We just know that she's getting wine and pouring it into something, but if she's doing anything else,
Mixing color, I think, but
we don't really know. It could be anything. But yeah, she goes back and starts talking to this client again, and then the client says to her, I have a really good quote here, is but we all want what we don't have. And that's kind of the whole theme of this movie, that we all want things that we don't have. So then with them kind of already setting that up for this whole film, I think is a smart thing to do. And when she says that, Claire kind of like nods a little bit and agrees. And then we get like, this montage of her cutting her hair, or we think that's what she's doing. But then we get Claire going to cover up the windows, and then she rolls out this set of scissors, and the client seems to be knocked out. So we're like, what the fuck is going on? And you get like
a slow motion wine glass drop.
Yep. And then we get our first scalping. So what did you think of that right off the bat, Aaron, with getting that first visual of like, I'm in for a fucking ride?
It was rough to watch, honestly. Like, I'm all for like a bloody movie, but like something about seeing somebody's scalp just being like just precisely cut off like that.
Yeah.
Just like got to me.
Yeah.
But,
and Jill actually has like most of these scalps still at her house.
Really?
Like, so she kept all of the special hey, you never know. And then we get a really cool shot of her, like, I'm calling her lair. She goes home and she brings this newly acquired scalp trophy, yeah, essentially, or personality, really, to her lair. And we get to see that this is not the first time she's done this. There's multiple ones down there, but what she does is that she tries all these on, and then she kind of like morphs into these people
takes on their personality.
Yeah, and then she starts quoting them, like she says, like, "Oh, we all want what we don't have," you know. She says that.
It's almost like she replays that conversation like that she has with them before.
Yeah, it's like her trying to not be herself. She wants to be these people, and I guess the best way for her to do that is to scalp them and physically wear them to be this other person. Because one thing that happens throughout this movie, I feel, is like we focus on Claire the whole time, right? But do you ever feel like you really know her? Like, you know her like
There's
really
some
well.
vagueness about it.
I feel like with the way that she's written and the way that she's being like portrayed, and how Najera is acting, is that there is like a side of her that she doesn't want anybody to see. Other than she's a very anxious person. Obviously, she's unhinged. She's a little insane. But then again, I guess if you were a hairstylist, especially talking to Jill, with always, always have to be like their quote unquote like therapist. It's kind of like being a bartender at the same time, My mom has been a bartender for a while. She kind of just recently stepped down from doing that. And it's kind of the same thing. Like, these people come
problems.
in, and everybody wants to tell you what the fuck's going on, and you're literally the therapist. You're giving them their poison, But with a hairstylist, it's completely different. It's way more intimate because obviously they're making you look the way that you want. You're there for at least an hour, and you have to have a conversation. I feel like if you go to get your hair cut and you're not talking, I feel like it's very awkward.
Oh, definitely.
Even though I've been there and I've done that, it just sucks when the person that's doing your hair doesn't seem like they're all there. And I feel like that's kind of like where Claire is in her life, especially seeing this first scene. Like, she's talking, but she's very just like, I'm just here. And then she goes and does her business.
And then she gets in.
Yeah, and then she does her business. But let me see. Sorry, if I move it, does it move on your end? Okay, we're sharing the same notes, so I just want to make sure it's not messing up on you. But it's cool because the next day, this is a really, really cool shot. Is Claire just wakes up, she's like putting on she's like touching her face and stuff, like putting on makeup, but then we get this really cool like split screen and like messaging between Claire and Olivia, which we have not officially met Olivia yet. Right now, like, we're getting introduced to her, but we don't know who really is. All we know is that she wants to get her hair done because she has a wedding. And then we see her jogging, and Claire's kind of just like doing her own thing. And then she goes to this coffee shop. Claire goes to this coffee shop. We get a little bit of like talking between Olivia and her husband Charlie a little bit, but that's pretty much it. Then we cut back to Claire like almost immediately, and this is like technically like her go-to coffee shop because the barista there like knows her order, but she's like fixated on this like one little spot of blood that's like on her shoe that she's trying to rub off. So she's like all like freaking out inside, you can tell. And then she just looks at her and she tells her order. And then one of the other things is like when she goes to wait, there's this one guy just fucking staring at her.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And then she finally wipes it off, and then right there is when collected and okay. But we get a little bit more of a back and forth with the hair cutting because Claire doesn't want to do it. Olivia like kind of pushes her to do it. Yeah. She says, "Okay, well I'll take the day to think about it." So they do that. Claire goes back home. Nothing productive in her day other than she goes back to her lair and just like chucks her boots down there. So I guess she leaves down things down there that she doesn't want people to know about, obviously. And then we get to Olivia's work, which she looks like she's maybe some sort of an accountant, or she's in a big office too, or something. But she's talking to one of her friends, saying that she doesn't know if she's gonna be able to do this. And this is what kind of confused me though, because it seemed like Olivia's friend was the one that was telling her about Claire. Did you get that same kind of feeling? Because I thought this was Olivia's hairstylist, but it must have been her friend's.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, but I think that's what it is, because she was even like, well, no, your hairstylist like flaked on me. So
unless like she recommended another person, and then she.
Yeah, maybe that's what that was. But Aaron, I'll let you take it from here. This is when I think Claire is outside of Olivia's house for the first time.
Oh yeah, so she's stalking Olivia. Also texting her.
Yeah.
But then, she like follows her.
I think that one's later.
Oh, okay. But yeah. So she stalks Olivia. She tells her to do her hair, and then their hair month.
Yeah, I think it's her and Olivia. Like they're finally together, getting their hair done.
I think they go to Olivia's apartment.
Yeah, later that night. Yep.
So they're doing what white girls doing their hair.
It's also really funny too because when she goes to pick up the wine, like Claire's like staring at this huge wall, and she's like so overwhelmed. I would be too, because I'm not a big wine person or even like alcohol person, so I wouldn't even know what to grab. So I imagine that's what she's like during that point.
So yeah, we got another hair montage, and Olivia loves her hair. She's happy with it, and she's puts her dress on, and she asks Claire to like
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Such an awkward like moment too of them being at the house. Because every time you see Claire like interacting with somebody, it's so awkward. Like I really want to know more of Claire's backstory. And when I was talking to Jill, I was like, since a lot of these movies are starting to do like comic books and stuff now, would it be cool if like our friend Jason Miller or something would go and make a comic book series of like how Claire became to be this prolific scalper? I think that would be really, really fucking cool.
Studied ancient techniques from.
Yeah, that'd be really, really funny.
Yeah, throughout the scene though, you kind of get like the vibe that she's attracted to Olivia.
Yeah, you
like a little bit.
It's weird too because you don't know if it's like her being attracted or she's just happy to have a friend now, like someone to talk to. It's like a blurred line there. Like I get the oh man, she's attracted to her, but I also get the well, she's alone and now she has somebody that was inviting her to go do all these things because no one ever does that. So it's a little bit of both, in my opinion. But I mean, you can take it anyway, really.
Yeah. Yeah, then you get some small talk, and but then she ends up like kind of freaking herself, getting all up in her head because I forgot she was talking about her dad and
mother
and yeah, their parents, and she ends up getting all up in her head though, and then like freaking out, says I gotta go, and she like goes out into her car, and, starts like crying and freaking out to herself, repeating all the the like the lines from conversation she had just had, like was it I never knew my dad either, and
yeah, she's like bashing herself because she knew that she was lying. So that's another thing that you get to see.
You can see that she's like fighting it, that urge, but like time it's
I mean, I think this is like more of a kid thing. I think when you were younger, when you were trying to fit in, you would say stupid things that you would lie about. Like
I used to tell when I was in middle school, I used to tell people Mike Rowe was my uncle. From Dirty Jobs.
Yeah, it's like stupid shit like that. So like you'd always say something dumb. But with her being somebody who guess really only knows her career and doing her doing hair and stuff, that she doesn't really get an actual connection with somebody outside of the salon. I don't know if it's just because that's how Claire wants to live her life, or if she's just like waiting.
A homebody, and just doesn't do well with.
Yep. And one other thing that we got a note too is that when she was at the house, she sees the key.
Yep. And
she takes it. Yeah, so she takes Olivia's house key, and it's kind of funny because it's on the cover, that's on Shudder, and on the DVD that has scissors and a key that are hanging. So kind of foreshadows some things in this.
But yeah, so she leaves Olivia's place and she heads to her usual coffee shop.
At like fucking 10 o'clock at night.
She tries to like barge in, but the coffee girl's there. She's like, we close at 10, but then she realizes that it's Claire, so she lets her in. She's like, I hope you don't mind me locking locking the door behind you. She's like, oh no, it's all good. She makes her usual. Then she drugs the coffee girl's coffee.
I love how she just has that on.
I know, right?
And this also kind of shows like when Claire feels uncomfortable, this is her way of getting herself back to normal.
To like kind of snap back in reality.
Yeah, but that kind of leaves the question like, what the fuck happened? What the first scene? What set her off to want to go and do this to this one person? Or maybe it was just the fact that she was cheating also on her husband too. Like they're in that whole conversation.
Yeah.
Like it's like, oh, I found like a boy toy and stuff. So maybe she was like, you're an awful person. So maybe she's like she's judging them and seeing, okay, this is someone who doesn't belong,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe doing that. But then again, the
Taking
coffee
justice into her
person
own
makes her
hands.
coffee. So this is kind of just like an outrage of like a last resort.
Yeah. Like cry for help.
Yeah, like I need to get this out of my system.
Yeah. So she drugs her coffee and she leaves. She waits across the street for the girl to pass out.
Yeah.
She sees her like taking out the trash and then watches her just fall. So
Yep.
she ends up dragging her back into the shop behind the counter.
Yep.
She rolls out. Oh, she's already got her scissors and everything set up. So she planned this out all out. But while she's texting Olivia, and then she gets invited to like her birthday party, and then starts scalping the barista. But then ends up messing up, and
so
the girl wakes up
Mm.
while she's in the middle of cutting her scalp off and starts freaking out, understandably.
Yeah.
Then Claire panics and just starts stabbing her to death with the scissors.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just like seeing her like fuck up the cut is very disturbing.
Right.
And with also her waking up too, it's just like, what the fuck?
Now imagine waking up in the middle of that shit.
I don't want to imagine that.
But yeah, so she cleans up and she dumps the body
In a trash can. Does this place not have security cameras? That's another
I know,
thing.
right? And she didn't look around for cameras. Nothing.
Yeah, like this movie sets up that this world has no security. Do whatever the fuck you want, essentially, in this universe, which is kind of cool, but also really scary. There's a couple of things at the end of the movie where there is people like watching, like there's pictures of Claire, but we'll talk about that when we get close, and also like the missing person stuff that happened.
Yeah, she like sees the paper at her work or whatever. Yeah, and then she decides to wash off the shame.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
And she listens back to like her recording that she had on her phone from when she was at Olivia's.
That's another thing. Like, you never know if someone could be recording you.
Oh, I know.
And she was recording the whole fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
That is scary as shit.
Like she's trying to take on her personality.
Yeah, or like getting like repeating these things back. Like the well, look how great we turned out is the thing that she keeps playing back.
Yep.
So she's like, oh, so I'm a good person. Essentially, is what she's saying, and we can be together.
She's trying to justify it.
Yeah, we'll be two good people together because we turned out great. Essentially, is what she's saying. And then she goes to like a hardware store, right? And then she goes to like grab things to lock up her quote unquote lair.
Yep.
And the guy says, hey, keeping somebody in or keeping somebody out, and he says keeping somebody out. For sure, keeping somebody out. which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and then Claire eventually ends up getting back to Olivia and accepting her invitation.
Yeah.
And anyways, she's at never mind. She's the sign for the code.
Yeah.
More text from Olivia.
And there's another thing I got confused too is because she has other conversations on her phone.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was video or if it was recording. I don't know if it was like maybe like a because we never really see the phones like actually like what's on screen. I don't know if maybe it was like stuff that was posted like on like a social media. Maybe
that's what it looked like.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from it. But I was also thinking like, did she plant something in Olivia's house that we just didn't see her do? But it's kind of nuts that she's literally stalking Olivia.
I know. But then they end up going to this club for her birthday party.
Yeah.
And it is
a bachelor party.
Bachelor party. Yeah, sorry.
It's all good.
But yeah, and it's extremely awkward because they're like these like obnoxious like woo girls who like that's what they do every weekend.
Yeah.
And, but so they all like start like drinking. She gets there, they're already drunk, and she's like, "Oh, I just poured this drink. It's for you." And then they all like do their cheers and jump around, and she ends up spilling alcohol in her dress.
Very little amount,
but she like panics about it.
Yeah, it's like she's almost like needs things to be perfect. Like, she's definitely OCD.
I was gonna say like OCD,
for sure.
bipolar.
For sure, OCD. Because you even saw that in the beginning with the
shoe.
with the shoe, you know. Yeah, and there's some good talks too between.
Which I'm surprised she doesn't have like a Dexter type setup when she does this, you know.
Yeah, I know. She just does it anywhere. Like
Mhm.
it could be in the alley, it could be in a store, anywhere. It could be in your house. It's kind of crazy. But there's some pretty good conversations between her and Olivia. But even though at this time Olivia's fucking blasted,
Yeah.
like she's not like 100% there. Like, you know, if you get tipsy or if you're drunk, like, or even like high or something, that you might just like have a feeling of just like wanting to say whatever's on your mind,
Yeah,
or
just honesty.
yeah,
Yeah.
or just like spitting random shit. And like Olivia was talking to Claire about Charlie, and she's like, sometimes it doesn't even feel like he notices me, which I think is kind of like really, really real in relationships. Hey,
Mhm.
I've been there in my relationship, and you know, things have definitely gotten better once we've, you know, kind of addressed those things and whatnot. But what Claire says is that he interrupted you is so like it's so straight to the heart. It's very powerful just hearing that, because you know that happens a lot in any kind of relationship, you know. And even Olivia's like, yeah, it feels like he interrupted me. And then Olivia asks Claire if she likes to run, and then Claire's like, yeah, I love running, which you know is definitely a lie. But then she kind of Claire excuses herself to go to the bathroom to clean up her dress, and then this is the point in the movie. This is like
Really
the
sets her off.
climax. This is the climax, or just right about. This is when it all fucking turns. Is when Olivia's friends come into the bathroom and start talking about how weird she is, and she's fucking creepy, and like, why is she here? Why the hell did she invite her hairstylist? Which, I mean, granted, it may be a little weird.
But it's just part of the wedding, you know.
Yeah,
so.
and also depending on how long they've you know been doing quote unquote business with. I mean, who cares? My mom was a bartender for somebody and was invited to like a wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, you can invite anybody. But Claire's in like a stall listening to all this, and you know she's pissed because she doesn't even say bye to Olivia face to face. She has to text and be like, "Sorry, I had to leave." So she waits in a car for one of her friends to go to her house. So she follows them to her house, and she finds her way inside. I don't know why they left the door unlocked. That was another thing. Like, maybe this is a very friendly neighborhood.
It's like Canada.
Yeah, people just leave their houses unlocked. So she goes in, and she goes in like the living room area where like her, Olivia's friend and like boyfriend or whatever are just laying in the couch, and you can tell that she wants to do something, but she turns and goes to the bathroom and finds these pills. But then has to go into the bathtub because her friend woke up and is going to like go to the bathroom.
Mhm.
So Claire's just in the bathroom with these pills, which I don't forget what was on them, and then like rushes out of the house and goes home. It's a very, very tense moment, just realizing that somebody could be watching you. You're fucking sleeping.
Mhm.
Yeah, she like literally like runs out of the house and then goes home. And then we get some this is when relationship between Claire and Olivia get really awkward. Because you can tell she's really attached to Olivia at this point. So she wakes up and is like wanting to send these messages like, "Oh, how's it going? Is there anything else I can do for you? It was a really good time last night," but she was just always like erasing them.
Yeah.
And then you can tell that she's just getting really attached to this one person. And then she goes to get another coffee, and then she sees I think it's at this point where, oh wait, no, never mind. This is at her work, is when she sees the more missing posters, and then she goes home. And this was the more video slash audio scene that I was confused by, where she was getting very, very, very upset in her bed because she was listening to her friend Olivia's friends talk to her, and she hasn't said anything to Claire, so she's getting jealous.
Yeah.
Essentially at this point. And this is like the uber creepiness is I'm gonna go watch her run through the park. I also love the wardrobe in this movie because Claire's always so vibrant, and you can always know when she's there because the way her color palette is and what she wears, it's very outstanding. And especially in a park, she's wearing like fucking
like a bright yellow bird.
Yeah.
Big sunglasses.
Yeah. Then, oh, Aaron, you can talk about this. Meets up with Claire at her work. That fucking scene.
When she like meets her outside.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they end up running into each other outside of her work, and Claire asks her, you know, if she could help her with anything, and she basically tells her to like fuck off.
Like she's like stressed and shit.
Yeah, she's like, I'm stressed. I got so many other people asking me to help. I don't need any more. Not just you, it's everybody, and this whole thing. And she said, I just need some space, and she goes, maybe you need some space from Julie.
Yeah, and when Claire said that, I was just like, that was nope, don't say that. And then Olivia like, no, not having it.
Yeah. So she ends up kind of just like get freaking out.
Yeah, she gets upset, and then Claire like wants to say something, and I have the quote there. I forget what she says after. Is sometimes people can talk to strangers. Like she was trying to say more, but Olivia kind of just told her to leave, and she drives off.
Yeah. So Claire starts losing it. You need some wine?
Yeah.
You need wine?
For the rehearsal dinner?
Yeah. But anyways.
This whole scene is, oh my god.
So she breaks into Olivia's house during rehearsal dinner.
Creepy as fuck, dude. And what she does too.
Oh, I know. She ends up returning the scarf that she had stolen and trying on one of her dresses. Starts going through all of her drawers and ends up in her underwear drawer and finds a little vibrator, which she then turns on, starts slowly moving it down. She makes herself comfortable in the bed.
Bro.
And starts using it for...
You're unhinged.
Right? And then, anyways, Olivia ends up getting home with her friends, and she ends up leaving with the dress on through the bathroom door. Through the bathroom window.
Yeah.
Leaving it wide open behind her.
Yeah.
And then she shuts the window, doesn't think anything of it, but it's time to...
It's nuts because she's really trying to be Olivia at this point. It's no longer wanting to be friends. It's like, I want to live this life.
Yeah.
Using her fucking sex toys is gross as fuck. And with her, the way that she left, I don't know if she put that back. Maybe it's still laying on the bed. So imagine seeing that when you get home and you have a sex toy that's on in your bed, a bathroom window open,
dress missing.
Like, what the fuck is going on? You know?
But yeah.
Yeah. She. You want me to go?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So she goes to break open the lair. She starts throwing everything down, and then she finds that there was one more mannequin head that didn't have anything. That's on the ground. So what does she do? Since she's super pissed off, and not knowing what to do, she goes on a hunt. And she's like wearing like an actual fur coat too, so she means business at this point. And this is a cool part too because Jill actually makes a cameo here, because Claire goes to knock on her door, and once again this just sets up another no shits given, no security. Claire just walks up, bangs on the door. Jill answers, and she says, "You have a phone?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll get it." None of are you okay? Or anything like that.
No questions.
Just okay, come on. So she comes in, and then Claire fucking knocks her out with the phone, and then scalps her, and then manically sits, eats pizza.
Covered in blood while watching.
Yeah, just laughing, giggling. So you know that she's getting a high essentially off of this.
Yeah, she's got her scalp on too.
Yeah. And then she goes back to the lair too, and she looks like all the pictures of like I guess when she was younger, or with her mother, or whatever they may be, maybe past victims who really know. But yeah, she like rearranges her lair too. Like I think she kind of hides away her trophies a little bit, and then it's now the big day. It's the wedding day.
Yeah, so it's wedding day, and there are pictures. Oh wait, so I'm trying to remember the context of these pictures.
It's when she's running out. It's the pictures of her running from the house. Like someone snapped pictures of her. Yeah, that's the one that's in the coffee shop. So it's like somebody was there snapping pictures of
Watching
Claire.
Yeah.
So it's like she was being watched, but that's like
by who?
Yeah, we never really get any kind of closure with that. That's okay though.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, it's wedding day. She's got to do Olivia's hair.
Yep.
And pictures of Claire. Promise you really see her. I remember.
Yeah, when she arrives, she goes to Charlie and says, "Do you promise you really see her?" And he's like, "Yeah, of course."
Yeah. But then she does her hair, and everyone's loving it. They're all around Olivia, but it says Claire, the one who actually did the hair.
Yeah, no, she has to talk to the little girl instead because she's the only one that talked to her.
But then like they're struggling, like something gets like fucked up or something. They're like, "Oh, you come help us with this, so it doesn't mess up your beautiful work." So I think that was like Olivia kind of trying to like serve, like,
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So very beautiful. So it's gonna be.
Yeah, that's what she says to the little girl because she's like, "I want you to do my hair just like Olivia."
Yeah, Claire, she watches Olivia and Charlie. They're having a conversation.
That was one other thing that kind of like got me confused because usually during a wedding you don't want to see each other until you're at the altar, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think traditionally, yeah.
So they wanted to do like a pregame essentially of the wedding.
I guess so.
I mean, hey, it's your day, so you do whatever you want.
Yeah. But then Claire, everyone leaves while Claire's doing finishing touches on like the hair and whatnot, and it's just her and Olivia. They're talking, and Claire says,
"Yeah, I don't run. I lied to you." And then Olivia's just like,
it's like a heart to heart kind of honest conversation. Cut to the wedding.
Yeah, the actual climax of this batshit movie. Aaron, I'll let you I don't know, discuss your feelings of this since I've seen this a lot because I'm always very intrigued of how you feel about that are like this.
Yeah, so then we got the groom waiting up at the altar. Olivia.
Yeah.
And walking down the aisle, you got the flower girl, she came through. Then she gets up, she lifts up the veil, and Charlie, you don't see the face, but you see Charlie's reaction, and something's not right. He starts to he looks like he's having a panic attack. He backs off. He's like, and then cut to Claire's or Olivia's face, and it's Claire with her scalp on. You can tell because it's like a line of blood starting to drip. It does more and more as as more people realize, and everyone starts screaming. They run out back. They're like, "What'd you do with her?"
Another really funny thing though is like you notice, like us as a viewer notice she's way taller.
Yeah.
So like off the bat you're like, oh fuck. Right. Yep. And even when she's walking up to Charlie, even Charlie's like looking at her like a bit weird. You think like her mother would have caught on to that right away, but no, I guess she's just so in the moment that she doesn't think anything of it. But Charlie definitely does, and I would too. Because she's almost as tall as Charlie when Olivia was like probably a little lower than shoulders.
Yeah, Claire had scalped Olivia, and
I wish we saw it happen.
I know, right?
I really do.
Everyone's freaking out. They ask, "What'd you do? What'd you do?"
Yeah.
And then get like a close there.
Yep.
That was Stylist.
Yes, it's a fucking phenomenal film. Jill and everybody at 6 to 8 Productions and anybody who worked on this film, fucking amazing film. I've actually been starting to feel kind of bad lately with the ratings that I've been giving because I've just been giving so tens to everything. And this is going to be another one of them because once again, this is, even though it has a lot of inspirations, it thrives off some other things, but the story at heart, I feel, is so original. Other than yeah, there's not many killer hairstylists. Yeah. But I mean, you got like Dr. Giggles and stuff, like who is like a mad like dentist and shit. But yeah, nothing at this extent. I mean, the closest that you can get, like, oh, this is just a rip off of Maniac. Like, not really. It's definitely still, yeah, it's its own entity. And I fucking love this film. I was really upset that I didn't see this before it came to services. I wish I saw this before, to be one of those people like, yeah, I saw this when it dropped. But nope, not me, unfortunately. But great film, 10 out of 10. Color palette is amazing. Just
like the purple.
Yeah, just the cinematography is amazing. The acting is so above par. It's fucking great. So great job, guys. What about you, Aaron?
Like I said, it starts off right away. It just keeps going up and gives some bigness.
Yeah.
Well, not even really, but like, but kind of makes you wish, like, kind of wanting more, like what happened after this,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But I thought it was really cool. The acting. It's an original concept. Haven't seen anything like it. I'll give it. I'm gonna say 10 out of 10.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay, you're gonna fall in line with me.
Yeah, just because
usually
I
you're
didn't
a little bit
anything.
harsher.
Yeah, but like I didn't see anything I disliked about it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few people who are like, "Oh, this is kind of like a slow burn movie." I don't think so.
Not really.
Slow burns take a while for anything to happen.
I normally hate slow burns. You know that, so
Yeah.
I don't think this was.
But this movie literally starts off right at the bat. So how could you call it a slow burn?
Oh,
You get a
yeah.
kill right at the beginning. Within the first like 7 minutes, like it happens, and then it's just a fucking roller coaster. You are in the mind of Claire the entire time. This movie is about Claire.
Her mind is a roller coaster.
Yeah, it's you feeling insane by watching her go insane and do all these crazy
just
things.
Watching her, like fall into this like.
Yeah, it's other personality. Like she's so many people. And another really cool scene too is like when she's in the lair before she goes and I think kills Jill. Is when she puts on like all the wigs and she's like quoting them and stuff and knowing like, yeah, she's held on to these and she knows each one, like she knows them.
Yeah.
And she just wants to be them, but nothing is working, so he has to go get a new one.
I wonder how she preserves them. Must stink.
Dude, yeah, I know, but even like the hair itself would go white, after a while because it's not getting the nutrients or whatever.
And shit, yeah.
So you would think that it would like start to turn gray or whatever. So yeah, that's I was thinking about that too. I'm like, how does she this from? Unless she just dyes it. Yeah. She has a hairstylist. Maybe she just dyes it the color that was.
Keeps up with it, yeah.
But yeah, with the rotting flesh would definitely not be fun putting on your head. But yeah, this movie is fucking phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, you're living under a fucking rock. And that's kind of like with a lot of movies lately. If you haven't been seeing them, I just don't know where you are in your life. You need to watch these movies. And this is one of them.
Do it.
It's good. If you have money, I would really suggest getting the Arrow movie because it has so many features on it. It's got the original like concept with the short film that was on it called Call Girl. It's got commentary tracks on it. It's got a lot of really cool shit. There's even a vinyl out for the score that I did buy. This has not came yet. So I'm waiting for that, which looks fucking sick. Yeah, there's just a lot of good shit out right now, man. Like horror is thriving because guess what? Our world is a fucking horror movie.
It is. It really is.
this like what just happened the past couple of days is just I can't believe the reality that I'm living in. The world
Sickening.
and the country that I live in is not the country that I grew up in. I feel.
Nope.
And I want to move. I really fucking do. I want to get out of here. But until any of that happens, if it does, this was the Bear Untitled podcast. I was your host, Dustin.
I was your co-host, Aaron.
And thank you guys for the constant support. There is an episode that will be coming out on Wednesday, which would be the Adam Stovall interview that we did, which was really fucking fun. I love doing these interviews. And some other stuff that we got kind of coming down the horizon is we have our David Howard Thornton interview that we have been kind of going back and forth with because of personal things that have been going on. Let me see if there's any other things going on before we sign off. No, I think that's it for right now. I have something really big in the works, but I'm not going to spoil it. But other than that, yeah, that's the show. So, Aaron, thank you for always being here, man.
Thank
and
you.
the show is so fucking fun. We have a lot of really cool things that are going on in the backgrounds right now. So, thank you guys for the constant support, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.